In this series, we're looking at the mystical tradition in light of the earliest texts on divine encounter, and we're exploring how these stories still impact the way we think about God today. Last time we talked about early Moses, this time we'll talk about later Moses. Presented as the first and greatest prophet, the one who sees God face to face like friends, and after whom all the other prophets are patterned. At first the text tells us there was never another prophet like Moses who saw God face to face in that special way. Later on, the text admits there will actually be one more prophet eventually like Moses. And as we'll see later, that prophet is Jeremiah. Enough about that for now. Moses. So Moses has just led the people on a triumphant march out of Egypt, and they come to the mountain again. One of the ancient traditions calls the mountain Horeb, the other calls it Sinai, but we're supposed to assume that they're the same mountain. So this is the same mountain Moses was at when he had this mystical experience about his identity. And now he's back, and all the Israelites are camped out in front of the mountain. And there's this lengthy interplay between who's going up the mountain and who's not going up the mountain. Who can go up and who can't go up? Who even wants to go up there? Is it even safe? There's a dense cloud at the top of the mountain filled with thunder and lightning, and Yahweh descends on the mountain like fire. It's all very dramatic. But these are all traditional symbols of theophany, signs of the dangerous and awful presence of God. The whole area is full of smoke, and there's an earthquake. The message is, get back from the presence of God unless you're ready. Moses tells the people to get ready, prepare themselves for encounter with the divine. But they're terrified. They refuse flatly, and they send Moses up the mountain alone. And Moses draws close to the thick darkness where God is. Moses ascends the mountain and enters into darkness. This is one of the most important ideas in the history of the tradition. A little later on, Moses and 73 others ascend the mountain again. And the text is careful to point out that they didn't die. It's a surprise that no one was overwhelmed by the presence of God. They did not die, but they saw God, and they ate and drank. The glory of Yahweh covered the mountaintop like a cloud, like a devouring fire. So what are the elements of divine encounter that emerge from this story? Firstly, this is about pilgrimage, a journey from slavery into freedom, from the desert to the mountaintop, from the mundane into the holy. And it's about ascent. Going up the mountain means entering into a cloud. Drawing near to God means not being able to rely on your own sense, to not be able to rely on your own understanding. Because you're encountering the transcendent, and you can't fit into your mind that which is greater than your mind. We also see here the fire and smoke, the thunder and lightning and earthquake, all of which will become important later on. But the primary ways this passage informs our understanding of the spiritual life is that it's a life of pilgrimage and ascent. It's both liberating and mysterious. The closer you come to God, the less you know about God. All those things you were once so certain of don't seem so important anymore. So have you ever had an experience like that, where drawing closer to God meant letting go of old images of God that just don't work anymore? What was that experience like for you? How can you possibly describe it to someone else who has never had that experience? Leave your thoughts and questions in the comment section below. Remember to subscribe to see more of these videos, and if you like what this project is doing, consider supporting it on Patreon. For as little as $1, you can become a supporter, and you get perks out of it as well. Whether or not you choose to support through Patreon, your viewership here matters more than anything else. So thanks for watching.